people know you can file a workers' comp claim if you get hurt on the job. But what if you develop a problem over time, such as a bad back? Alex Eichhorn is here with the answer. He is an attorney with Tabak Law. Hey, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Molly. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining us during this stay-at-home order, seeing you virtually this morning. Let's talk a little bit about the consultations that you do, because you do a risk-free work injury consult, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So any injured worker, whether the injury be extremely severe or even a cut to the finger, can call my office. You'll speak with an attorney or a skilled paralegal immediately and get a absolutely risk-free consultation. I would say the vast majority of individuals who are calling our office are just asking initial questions. You know, how do they file the claim? What benefits they're entitled to? And again, that's entirely risk-free.
So that's something you can do over the phone then, obviously, which helps during this time.
That's exactly right. We've been doing Zoom meetings with our clients, Facebook meetings, and also over the phone largely. We also have a very modern system that allows us to text message and email all from one platform. So when an individual texts my office, all of my staff is able to see it and get a response back immediately to those individuals.
I think, Alex, a lot of people are worried when they get hurt on the job or they have an injury maybe sustained over time. They're worried about how they're going to pay an attorney. They want to be able to ask questions and know if they have a case, but they're worried about how much it's going to cost them.
Yeah, so our office does a contingency fee agreement, meaning that we'll sign you up. Hypothetically, we could work on your case for years. And if indeed we're on, and during that time, you don't pay my office $1. We're spending money to get medical records, send for a functional capacity evaluation, a vocational assessment, and whatever additional narrative statements are necessary from the individual's doctor. And the client doesn't pay a single dollar. The only time that payment is received by my office is at the very end of the claim when either a settlement occurs or a trial occurs and we win, and that is paid directly from the workers' compensation company. So an injured worker is never stuck in a position where they're having to write my office a check from funds that they may not have in their account just yet.
I think that's wonderful, and I think that's so important to share with people, so I appreciate that. So what if somebody is hurt on the job and they're unable to work?
Yeah, so that's a claim that we deal with oftentimes. So if we're going to talk a little bit about back injuries, because that's really an area that we focus on. So if an individual suffers a back injury while at work and they're unable to continue to do the job that they're doing, now this can be an acute incident such as lifting and their back blows out, or an injury that happens over a period of years, even a year, doing laborious work, lifting a lot. If your back consistently is made worse than it otherwise would have been, you can have a claim. And if you get to a point where you're no longer able to do the job that you were doing, the state doesn't say you're out of luck. What happens is you can be either resent for retraining back to the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, or if you're entirely unable to work, my office is one of the larger Social Security disability advocacy law firms in the nation, and we process thousands of Social Security disability claims, so we can get that aspect of your claim going. And then secondarily, we can move forward with the vocational loss of earning, the loss of earning capacity claim, which really aims to put the individual in a position that they would have been had the injury not occurred. So it supplants their wages for sometimes the remainder of the individual's lifetime if they're unable to work entirely.
Well, and I think you make a good distinction, but also the point that both are covered. So if you have an acute injury, something that happens suddenly on the job, that's one thing, and that can be covered. But if you have sort of a nagging injury or something that gets worse because of the work that you do, that's also something that can be covered. And some people might be surprised to learn that.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I think it's a far more common injury, actually, that people in factories or nurses who are lifting patients or having to roll patients, or really anyone who's working at Walmart. We represent people in all walks of life who do something consistently at their job, bending over, lifting, and develop occupational injuries, meaning an injury that happens over time. The standard is certainly in favor of compensability. So it really just states, was the injury made worse than it otherwise would have been in layman's terms? And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to demonstrate that if an individual's been doing heavy lifting for a number of years and their back's made worse by that, and their doctor says, yeah, there was an acceleration here of even a pre-existing condition, it becomes compensable. And then we can move forward with those loss of earning capacity claims, which can be certainly six-figure claims, very large claims, and put an individual back in a position that they may have been had their back or whatever injury not prevented work activity.
Alex, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure. And even though I had to join here from home, I'm glad that we can get the word out. And hopefully someone's heard this morning and is thinking, yeah, that sounds a lot like what I have going on. Give my office a call. The consultation's entirely risk-free.
Thank you so mumuch. And that's a risk-free consultation, as Alex said. You can contact Tabak for the payback, as they say, to remember how to say the name. It's 414-351-4400, or visit them online at tabakattorneys.com.